Okay, guys, we are back and welcome back to Let's Get Freaky podcast. I've got a very special guest tonight. We have got Joseph McKenney with us. How are you, brother? Welcome to Let's Get Freaky podcast. This has been a long time coming. Thank you for being here, man.
Tommy, my mate, I've been brushing up on my UK-ish or or whatever you guys call your language over there, man. Today I learned a new I know my phone spies on me, so when I've been talking about you, I started getting feeds from the UK, and I'm learning what I got to be careful because I don't know what these words mean, man. But like
Oh,
someone
you got to tell me.
I'm gonna so I'm looking up. I'm finding out what a wanker is. That's a good one right there, right? And a haughty twat. I guess that means an arrogant twat. A haughty H
I,
A U
I've not
G
heard that one.
haughty twat. Yeah, that came up on feed today. They were talking about somebody in your politics.
Oh,
Somebody called
they're
them
all that. They're all
a
that
haughty
for
twat
sure.
or whatever that means.
That's putting it nicely, I think, for our politicians, to be
Not
honest.
gonna lie, man, that's going in my rotation, son. I'm just waiting for the opportunity to call somebody a haughty twat, man. You haughty twat.
Well, I've got
So
to
it
say,
is.
I've never heard that one, brother. So you've taught me one there as well.
Yeah, yeah. So there you go, man. Yeah. So yeah. Excellent. No, I'm excited, man. Thanks for having me, dude. Like I said,
Oh,
man.
thank you for
Yeah,
being here,
man.
man.
I'm
I've been
pumped for
on
you.
your show, which is absolutely awesome. Had
Thank
a
you.
great time on your show, man. You're based in Tennessee. That's correct, isn't it?
No, I'm actually in Northern Virginia, but I was born in Upper East.
Ah, I knew it was one of those.
And man, we're so big, man. Like I said, yeah, it's in the same mountain range, but just a little bit, a couple like 5 hours north. So
Yeah, it's all connected. We're
yeah,
all
it's
connected, man.
all connected, man. And I'm pulling for you guys, man. I'm pulling for you. Like I said, now that like I said, Lily, when we started talking about this, all of a sudden I'm getting like, I don't know who the labor is, but I'm ready to go to war with these people, man. Like I don't know what that means. But like my TikTok feed says that we're
Yeah, well, Labour's basically the
that's our
Democrats.
enemy.
Democrats and Labour are basically the same.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry, miss. I get it now. I get it. I get it. Yeah. So yeah, yeah,
we'll see what happens. It's going to be
yeah.
interesting.
I was looking at my phone and I was like seeing all these, people and looks. I don't know. Like there's some of them were in London, but I don't know. Like some of them were spread out, right?
Hmm.
And they were going hard on labor. And I'm like, after about four, I'm like, yo, I don't know who these people are, but you know what? Let's get on, let's get them. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well,
they fired me up, man.
Labour have pretty much just got in, and
Okay.
the dude at the top, Carl Starmer, Keir Starmer, sorry, he is already voted the worst, or his ratings are already the worst of any prime minister. Apparently,
Ever.
I don't know how they work it out, but apparently that is yeah,
All
which is
right.
not cool.
Well, I'm cheering for you, man. I really am, dude. We just
Thank
took
you,
the
brother.
devil off our back over here, man. So like I'm ready. Like if you need like watch out, labor.
I'm coming over there, man. I've already
Come on,
told
bro.
you. That's
I told you
that's the plan.
I got your welcome aboard package right here, man. Welcome to America.
I can't wait, man. I'm coming. I'm coming,
Uh-huh.
brother.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
You've got an awesome show,
Thank
Ancient
you.
Enigma Files. I've got my mug here, which you
Right.
very kindly sent over, and a t-shirt as well.
Azul.
And I've got to say, yeah, this is Azul on the mug. For people are listening, this is a really cool mug. It's got a cool little alien dude on there, and this is my favorite mug. Like I
Right.
drink out of this every. I'm not joking.
Right.
I drink
I'm
out of this every day.
glad you like it, bro.
I love my tea. Obviously, in the UK, we love our tea, and I drink a lot of tea out of this, man. So
All
thank
right.
you very much. I
You're
love it.
welcome.
It's a perfect size. It's very hard to get a cup that's the perfect size. Like it's
Okay.
not a small. It's like it's perfect, man. Thank
Right
you.
in there. Awesome. No worries, man. You're most welcome.
You're a legend, brother. So
Thank you.
your show is awesome show. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about your show, about yourself, and what got you into the wild subjects that we talk about?
Okay, well, so let me unpack that for you here. My show is the Ancient Enigma Files. It's on YouTube. I'm also on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, the usual suspects. And before you ask, all the cool names were taken. So that's what I had to go with. So the
It's a
Ancient
cool
Enigma
name,
Files.
man.
And thank you. And so if I'm being brutally honest, because I want to be friends with everybody in the UK, I kind of started this channel to be a smartass, man, to be a little troll, right? Like it was a something that I kind of did on a dare during COVID, and everybody was sitting around. Right? I've always liked history, man. I've always liked it. I just enjoy history, man. And then when we had all that time for ourselves, we were in there, we were sitting down. I had never been on Facebook. I'd never been on TikTok. I'd never been on Instagram. I'd never been on any of that stuff right before, right? And I'm sitting down there and I'm bored. That was a time, man, where you were bored, right? Like, okay, there's only so much, Netflix you can watch. So I went on Instagram just looking around, right? And I saw these people talking and I was like, yeah, that ain't true. Like, that's not even close to being true, right? I said, no, I was like, what are y'all talking about? So I said, you know what? For fun, I'm going to troll these people, man. I'm going to troll them, right? So I created this cat right back here, Professor Arthur Augustus, right? That's the bastard son of Indiana Jones, right? Literally, that's who that is, right? I just created him, right? And I saw this big debate about how the pyramids were built, right? And so, to any of your listeners in the UK, it is physically impossible for the ancient Egyptians, and they weren't even the ancient Egyptians, to build that. Back then, to cut that granite stone, you had to use a technique called abrasion. And basically what you did was you would put sand on the block, pour water on it, and two guys in a diaper would just rock back and forth and they would just slowly cut through it, right? These are 100-ton blocks. These guys are 5'4", 30 pounds, and a can-do attitude. It will never happen, right? That structure is so well built that you can't even get a piece of paper in between it, right? It's just perfect in all sense. It's not even a burial chamber. It's literally a power plant, right? So I made this video, right, about how it was physically impossible to do. And I made an Instagram channel. I put it on there. You can go to my Instagram. It's literally pinned on my profile. I made like 7 people follow me. They were all related to me. And then so I had like 7 followers. I just went to bed. I woke up the next morning, man, that thing, like, I had 120,000 views, had like 1,000 followers. And these dudes were throwing hands in them comments, man. Like it was a full on brawl, man. I was like, oh, snap. So I just waited in, and then I said, man, I thought it was fun, bro. And then I went in there and added more fuel to the fire. So today's modern day Egyptians, you're not Egyptians, man. If you read the Bible, man, in the book of Kings, when the Israelites were feeding their children to the demons, God sent Nebuchadnezzar down and he smoked everything out of Babylon, right? And as a reward, it literally says this, and there's also a historical background on this too. He gave Egypt to Nebuchadnezzar. So Nebuchadnezzar went down there and took everything and all the people, and they never resettled. So what happened was the Kemites, which were in the mid part of Africa, they just migrated north and they found these ruins. And those are your modern day Egyptians. They didn't build those things. They were in awe of it, and they tried to recreate it. And the first attempt they had was this thing called the Red Pyramid, right? And it looks like me and you out there with a case and a beer and like just a bunch of bricks. This thing was a you can go look it up, man. Again, I welcome the fact checks, man. You can go look this up. It's a total train wreck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these people, they were very, litigious in keeping their records. So they actually had directions on how to mummify dogs and cats, like literally, like detailed directions. You won't find one hieroglyph on how to make a brick. You won't find one hieroglyph about how to cut that stone or build that stone. This doesn't exist. In fact, the ancient Kemites never claimed they built it. That's a 100% modern 1920s Egyptian archaeology type of belief that the Jews built this during slavery. No, it did not happen. It did not happen. Matter of fact, when the Romans came down to conquer Egypt, and they did, and Egypt was growing their grain, the Romans already had running water in their house. They had toilets, they had aquifers, right? They had concrete that we just now figured out how to recreate. They weren't impressed with anything, right? Nothing they saw down there, even that big pyramid, they weren't impressed, right? But having said that, man, that doesn't mean that the story is not fascinating. The story is absolutely fascinating, man. That city once upon a time was a thriving metropolis, but it was totally created by the Watchers of the Nephilim, man. That's in the book of Enoch. They're the ones that made that, right? And it makes sense if everybody's 10 feet tall, then those blocks don't seem so big, right? When it's literally double the size, right? So I made that. And then it just grew, man. I just kept posting videos like that. And then, man, I'm kind of like, I like to have fun. I laugh, right? And so my style is a little unique. And so I'm not one of these uber serious guys that gets on there. So, and when people, I'm almost impervious to being insulted. So if somebody says something to me, I'm like, you know what, man, that's actually I can see that. That's pretty good. That's
That's a
pretty good,
great
man.
way. That's a great way to be, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially
So
on
yeah.
social media when
Yeah.
you've got a big following like yourself, you're gonna
Yeah.
get people that
Oh yeah.
say nasty things and try and get a
Yeah.
rise out of you. But yeah,
Yeah.
that is the best way to be. So you literally blew up overnight, man.
Man, bro, I'm telling you, man, like I'm 100% blessed. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't, I'll even tell you how much of a noob I was, man. It took me 6 months on Instagram, and I already had like thousands and thousands of followers to know that I could separate my comments at the top by the little buttons where it says all comments, likes, or whatever. I
Yeah.
was just in that one thing going like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm doing here. And so I didn't know what a hashtag was. I mean, look. So it's funny too because my cousin was like, "Hey, man, we should start a podcast," and I'm like, "I don't know how to do a podcast." He's like, "I don't either." So we just started. But then my podcast started gaining steam, and then like Instagram started going up. I didn't even have a Facebook. They're like, "Hey, man, go to a Facebook," and I'm like, "All right." And then like do a TikTok, and I'm like, "Okay." And I got no clue whatsoever like what I'm doing. So if you go and look at my old content, man, it's like me basically holding a flashlight up to my face, right? Super bright. All so I had these people come in and they were like, "Hey, man, look, you got something here, man. The way you present, the way you talk, go back in there, man, and let's redo your old videos." And I was like, "Nah, no way, bro." It's like I think I even told you this before. I was like, there's no way I'm doing that." I said because I'm not going to pretend I'm like some, like came in. Like I go back now and I watch them for fun. And yeah, I mean the content's good, but like, yo, man, it's pretty bad.
well,
It's
man,
pretty bad, bro.
for someone that doesn't know what they're doing, you're doing a very good job.
Thank you, man. So
I've
yeah,
got
so
to
I just
say
got,
that.
like I said, man, but I've been another thing too, man. Like I've been, I've been kind of fortunate. Like I've met good people, like yourself, man. Like I've met like really cool people, man. No. I mean, I'm not just saying that because I'm on your show. Like no, I've met like really good people, man, and God's kept the wrong ones out of my life, man. Like it really has. Like some people. So when I first started, I was like, "Hey, man, you want to come on the show?" And they were like, I don't know, man." I was like, "Yeah, no, man, I'm kind of rinky dink, man. It's not, I'm sorry, man. Like I get it, man. No hard feelings, right?" And really, I mean that, right?
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, man, I start picking up steam, and then they're like, "Yo, man, my schedule opened up," and I'm just like, I was like,
Ah,
"Oh, all right." So I'm like, "All right, now well, I know what you did, man." So I'm
yeah.
gonna have him on my show, and I'm like, "Get back to me in March."
Yes, sir. That's
That's
the
what
way, man.
yeah, so get back to me in March, man. So, and another thing too, I do wrong. I don't follow people, right? And so it's not like that's a flex. It's just like I just really don't know what I'm like doing, man. And I make a video that I like, and I put it out there, and that's just what I do, right? And so yeah, bro, like I kind of like this is not by design, bro. This is like a blessing. I fell into this, man. I fell into it, right? And so
Wow.
even now, man, I'm still not 100% like and to know what I'm getting into, right? So when you and I the first time we went together, man, I didn't know that you could tag people on other channels. Like I didn't even know that was a thing, right? So they're like, one of my buddies was like, "Hey, man, why aren't you like tagging them?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, what's a tag?" He's like, "Are you for real?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." So yeah, bro, that's just how it is, man. But now like it's literally taken on like a
Yeah, you got a
life of its
huge
own.
following. Got a huge following, man.
Yeah, man, and like yeah, and like yeah, man, I don't even I don't even know I don't know what to say to say thank you, thanks. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
say thank you, and
But
then
just keep doing what you're doing, brother. I think
yeah,
that's the
another thing
way.
too, man. Yeah, I tell them too, man. Like I think this, this ain't an act. Like I'm a nutter in real life, man. Like when we hang out, when you get over here, you'll
Mhm.
see like
Yeah.
I'm not putting on a show. In
Oh,
fact, sometimes I have to bite my tongue because I'm like, "Yeah, be nice, say something." Say that. Some people won't find that funny. I find it hilarious. You know what I'm saying? But they won't
well,
find that funny.
I think
So
that's the cool thing about podcasts. Like
yeah,
if you've got your own show, you're like you are you. Like you put your spin on it, I guess,
Yeah.
and that's what's good, man.
Yeah, and so and I think too, I'm kind of learning my ways around here. Like I had like somebody reach out and they're like, "Hey man, you need to niche up, right?" And
Hmm.
I was like, "What are you talking about, right?" It's like he's like, "Yeah, you need to niche up. You need to like you need to like just do dogmen, right?" And I'm like, "Nah." I was like, "I want to do dogmen, UFOs. I still
Yeah.
want. I like taking the stuffing out of stuff." And he's like, "I was like, bro." I told him this, man. He started laughing at me. I'm like, "I'm the niche."
Yeah.
I said, if you want to see a Dogman video, man, go. There's 100 of those, man. But if you want to know what I think about them, come watch my show. And I stayed true to it, bro. And then, like I said, I had people too that were on Instagram. They were like, "Hey, I see that you got a high engagement. We would like to do some sponsor stuff with you."
Hmm.
And my thing was, I was like, "Yeah, man, no worries. If I like your stuff, man, like I'll just give it away." They're like, "Nah, we would like you to, hi, my name's Joseph, and this is the remote control 5000. And if you're ever, so I was like, yo, man, that ain't me. I said, no, man. I said, look, I'm not going to do that. I said, look, I said,
Just do
thank
it,
you.
man.
Yeah. So, no, well, like, yeah.
Wow.
So that's just how I tell more people no in a polite way than I do yes.
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, man, it's not really my thing. I don't want to do that. I haven't even turned monetization on my YouTube channel. I didn't even turn it on, right?
Hmm.
And people are like, are you ever going to do it? And I'm like, yeah, when I break 100,000 subs, I'll do about it, man. But commercials suck. Let's talk about Dog Man, baby.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
I love that, man. I love
Yeah,
that, man.
right on,
Yeah,
man. So
because you're listening to your gut, you're doing what you feel is
yeah,
right, and I think that's important. So I
yeah.
think that's really cool.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, thanks, man.
Ah, well, I love your show, man. I was
Thank
lucky
you.
enough to be on it. We had a
Yep.
great time.
Well,
People
you'll be
need to
back
go
too,
back.
man. Like I
Oh,
said.
I'd love to. Anytime, man.
Yep.
Anytime. Going back to what you was talking about the period, I read a story today,
Mhm.
and I'm not sure, I don't know the name, so this is probably not great, but I read a story today that they found a mummy in Egypt.
Mhm.
And again, this might not be true. I don't know if you've heard this, but the mummy had blonde hair. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that, but
Oh, I'm not
but
sure.
don't worry about the words, man. White boys can't pronounce them words. You get my version of it, man. The Dama or something like that, man.
I read it today. I'm sure it was today or yesterday. I read it, and they found a mummy, and it still had like the blonde hair on the mummy. And they were saying like
Yeah,
going
so
back
I
to what you
mean,
were saying about all the different races that were there.
yeah, so no, so yeah, the original Egyptians, man, the original Egyptians, right? No one knows what they look like, right? But I
Hmm.
can tell you what they don't look like. They don't look like the people that are there right now. The Kemets look like African warriors, is what they were, and they were
Hmm.
from the mid part of it, and also too, everything we've ever been told about history is a complete 100% a lie, right? And especially, and I throw this out there, so guarantee if the wrong people hear this, you're going to get some hate in the comments. I'll back them up.
Let's
The
go.
Egyptians, the current Egyptians are the worst liars when it comes to the whole history of it than anybody else. It's almost like an episode of Mean Girls, man. They just can't say that, hey, that, we don't know what this is, man, or we don't know what here. No, the answer is it's a burial chamber. It's 100% not a burial chamber. If you've ever been inside those pyramids,
Hmm.
there's nothing ordained about them, period. They're boring, right? And they're really small, right? They're 100% were power plants, man. And from a definitely a highly advanced Anunnaki or whatever the Watchers, Nephilim, whatever you want to call it, man,
Hmm.
civilization. But the Egyptians constantly, and also too, the Egyptians, they know this. So that's how I know. See, it's not an omission by ignorance, man. It's an omission. It's a deception on purpose. They know what's down there. They've been in there. There's a chamber underneath the left paw of the Sphinx, right? They know that head is not the original head, right? That was a dog head once upon a time. They know
Yeah.
all this stuff, right? They found other chambers down there where they go in there and they'll board them up and you can't go in there because it doesn't fit the Egyptians built this or did this narrative. But when I talk to people, they're like, "Oh, you're only saying that because you're white," and I'm like, "No, white boys didn't build that either." And I'm telling you. So I said, "I don't know who built it, but I'm telling you, none of us did it." And he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, they had written language," and I'm like, "We have it now, and we still can't build it. We got language and
Hmm.
all this other
Yeah,
stuff."
we can't build the pyramids now.
Yeah, we
How
can't, man.
how they were built, which
Yeah,
which I find wild.
yeah, we
That
can't. We
that
have
we
lasers, bro. We can cut through. We can cut those blocks, no problem, man. We just can't move them. I'm
yeah
saying, we just
yeah.
can't move them. We can't stack them. Another thing too that they don't tell you is those pyramids were smooth. There was something on top of them that made them completely smooth. What you see right now, that's just the guts, man. They say that limestone, somehow there were limestone on the outside, right? So not
Mhm.
only were these giant granite blocks underneath it, but there was a limestone on there, and the capstone was made of crystal, right? We definitely cannot do that, right? So yeah, what we're seeing now is that's just the ruins, man. But they take it personal, and you know what? I'm not gonna lie, man. I like taking the stuffing out of them every now and then, man. Or if I can use my UK, I like taking a piss.
Yeah.
I like taking the piss, man, with these guys, man. So
Yes. But I think we can all see, and I think if everyone's truly honest with themselves, if you look back over the last couple of years, you can see how the mainstream media manipulate stories, even stories that we know that happened 3 or 4 years ago. They've changed the narrative,
yeah,
like around the world. Like we can see that in real time happening now. So
yes,
stuff that happened hundreds of years ago, I can imagine how many times it's been changed,
yeah,
manipulated,
yeah,
rewritten. Like, yeah,
yeah,
it's
over and over and
interesting.
over again. And so I mean, that's basically how the channel got started, bro. Me being a wise guy, and
Yeah.
and it
And
just it took
Professor Augustus,
yeah,
the bastard child of
Indiana Jones, the bastard
Indiana
son.
Jones, that's got to be a movie, man. They've got to make that. That'd be incredible. That is a great.
Yeah,
You should pitch that, man.
yeah. So
Definitely.
yeah, that's me back there. Yeah, I'm the truth giver, man. I'm the one you don't want to see showing up, man. So yeah, I'll tell you what really happened.
So paranormal.
Mhm.
Have you had experiences with the
Yeah, for
paranormal?
sure. I am actually. So I was talking about this last night. I'm either going to, so I've hit 49 episodes on Enigma cast, right? So my next episode is,
Wow.
yeah, thank you. My next episode is going to be my 50th episode. And I'm debating that I'm going to just sit down and I'm going to turn the camera on and I'm going to tell you a story of something that happened to me when I was in the military for 3 years in Japan that went off on that right there. So, but to answer your question, yes, I have. But then, like as thing goes on, I actually think that it might have been looking back and reflecting on it. And this isn't a story too, like where I tell people, like I'm not a type of guy, man, that just sits in the corner and cries about it, right? Like when I was in the military, I told everybody. All my friends know this story. My family knows this story. They all know. I told everybody. They told me to shut up. Hey, look, man, we don't talk about that, man. I had a TS SCI top secret SCI clearance, man. I was on a Spook base in Japan for a long time. I've been on Diego Garcia for a year. That everybody's the Spook base down there. I was there for a year. And I told people, I'm like, "Hey, man, this is going on." No. And it wasn't just me. There was other people that it was happening too, man. They were like, "Yeah, this is going on." And like, "Yeah, we don't talk about that. We just keep it. We just tramp it down." So either my 50th or 52nd episode, man, either my 1 year anniversary or my 50th episode, man, I'm gonna drop that on there. But
Whoa.
so I grew up.
Is that
What's that?
coming
Go
up
ahead.
soon? Is the 50th coming
Yeah,
up soon?
I'll either drop it this Monday. So tomorrow I'm actually in DC. I'm going to the congressional UFO UAP hearings tomorrow in DC. So you'll see me wearing a jacket
Oh,
and jacket and tie tomorrow, right?
that's
So
going to
you'll
be
see
interesting.
post up there. It'll either
Could
be
you
Monday or 2 weeks out, man. I'll do it then. But yeah, so it's coming up. But I can tell you another paranormal story that'll make.
could you tell us that Japanese story and I'll put this out in after or
You want to
not?
hear it?
If you don't want to,
It,
don't.
well,
But
it takes about 45 minutes, man. So it'll take the whole
oh,
podcast. So,
if you don't mind, I want to hear it.
so you sure?
Only if you're happy to share it because I feel like I've got to hear it and I'll put it out after you've put yours out.
All right. So all right, I will. So we can do that. So check this out.
Oh man, let's go.
So so my military career was kind of an anomaly, man. I was in the Navy at 17. I went on waivers, right? And so when I was in the Navy, my shoe size and my uniform size changed twice. I didn't stop growing until I was like 22, and I was in there for 4 years, right? So I was just a boy. And so I went to boot camp down in Orlando, Florida, and then I went to Naval Intelligence School, which is in Pensacola, Florida. And then right around there, man, I flew. My first duty station ever was in Japan. And when I landed in Japan, it was January 6th, and it was a if you I don't know if a Japanese winter is very cold, man. It's very wet, right? I never. It's the longest flight I've ever been on my life, man. I flew from literally from uh, New York all the way to Japan, and they stopped along the way to pick people up because it was a purely military flight, man. So we stopped. So everybody on there is military, right? So I landed in this place called I think it was Yokota Air Force Base in Japan, and my sponsor picked me up. And everybody else was in their uniforms, but I came out when I came out in my uniform. These guys just looked like two dudes wearing blue jeans, and they were like, "Hey, look, go in the bathroom, change your clothes. You're not regular Navy. We don't do that." And then I was like, "Okay." I went in there, changed my clothes, came out. An hour drive all the way down to the base. This base is tucked. Literally, this base was a torpedo factory during World War II, so half of it was underground. They just bombed it out, man, and just rebuilt the base on top of it. You can go look it up. It's called NSGA Camisea. I was there for 3 years, right? Naval Security Group activities. My room number was 111, 111. And they're like, "Hey, look, man, it's a Friday. Here's your room. We'll come get you on Monday." So I was like, okay. I was exhausted. So I went in my room, laid down. It was an old wooden, like, type bed with a rinky dink mattress on it, man. They gave me a sheet and this most uncomfortable gray blanket you ever seen in your life, right? So I lay down and I go to sleep. And something like, again, man, I was exhausted. And all of a sudden, man, I felt weird. I don't know why. I can't really explain it, man. I was facing the wall this way. And I turned over this way and I looked. And in the military, we have these things. They're like half fridges. These fridges are about 4 feet tall. It's like a 4 foot tall, slim fridge, kind of like any dormitory fridge you would have. And standing next to that refrigerator was this shadow. It was a shadow man, right? It was just standing there, right? And I could tell it was 5 feet tall because it was just 1 foot taller than that refrigerator as a point of reference. I looked at it, it looked at me, and I just, for some reason, just rolled back over and I went to sleep, right? Didn't think nothing of it, man. Literally 6 months go by, right? 6 months go by. And in the military, when you get to your command, you don't immediately get put into, situations, right? You have to cut the grass for a little while, man. There's a kind of little, you got to get work. They slowly integrate you, right? So by 6 months, man, I was already on my, I was already on my team. We were at work. And in the military, everybody likes to think that, 24/7, we're doing high speed, Jason Bourne, saving the world stuff, man. It ain't nothing like that, bro. There's nothing worse than 12 dudes in the military at 3 o'clock in the morning with nothing to do because we're either wrestling, doing something, right? Doing something, right? So we're just sitting around, man. These guys are cutting it up. And this one guy came in. He's still alive. And they immediately start going in on this guy. They're like, "Hey," I'm not gonna say his name, but like, "Hey, you seen the boogeyman lately? You seen the boogeyman?" And they're like, and I was like, "Well, what?" So I'd seen this guy. He lived 2 doors down from me. My room number was 111. He was 107. He was 2 doors down, right? And he was like, "Man, y'all just need to leave me alone, man. This isn't funny." And like, so they were giving him the business, man. And I'm like, "Yo, what are y'all, what are you talking about?" "Yo, man, Izzy's haunted, man. Shadow guys mess with him all the time." And I'm like, "Shadow guys?" And I'm like, "I saw one." And like, they all stopped, bro. Like, all of them stopped and like, "What?" And he's like, "What? I told you." Like, he just goes nuts, man. Right? He's like, "I told y'all." They're like, "Yo, get out of here. What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Yo, man." I said, so I told him the story. It's like, when I landed, there was a shadow dude standing right there, just standing next to my refrigerator. And like, "What'd you do?" And I'm like, "I just rolled over and like went to sleep." So they were like, "Oh, you were just tired. You were jet lagged or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Izzy told you to do that." No, 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 no. Oh, I just dropped his name. Sorry. I'm sorry, buddy. That's not his real name. That was his nickname, Izzy.
Okay.
So anyways, so yeah, so I was like, all right, man. So he left and he went out to another part of the building, man. So I went over there. So, I got up and I left as well. We're a tight unit, man. We were tight, man. We were section 2, man. We were a really tight unit. And so I went there. I was like, yo, man, tell me about this thing you saw, man. He's like, well, blase, blase, this, that, and the other. He just told me the story, right? And I was like, oh, man, that's crazy. I was like, man, I'm sorry that's happening to you. He's like, yeah, man, this thing won't leave me alone, right? And I don't know what happened, what perpetrated me having that conversation with him. Not even like a month later, like 3 weeks later, I'm in my bedroom. I'm in my room now or whatever. Same thing happens to me again, right? And when I wake up and I look, I had rearranged the room by then. We had rearranged it, man. But the refrigerator was always in the same place, right? Like it was always, we had 3 lockers and it was right next to the locker, right? So I look up and he's there again. But this time he's just a little bit like closer, right? Like just a little bit closer to me. Then the that kind of all right, all right, that was a little upsetting, right? I was like, all right, well, this thing's here. So I told my roommates, I was telling everybody, like, yo, man, for real. And like, they knew me, man. I was not that type of dude, but I was like, yo, man, this is going on. And then, man, Tommy, it took off, brother. Like it took off, bro. It got real quick. And so I was dating girls over there all the time, and I started bringing girls back to my room, and they would wake up in the middle of the night saying something's pulling their hair, something's doing something weird to them, right? We have padlocks on all, or combination locks on all of our lockers, man. Something used to just make them all swing. It would just swing, right? So I was like, you know what, man? I was like, this is in my younger mind. Like again, like I said, I was 18 years old when I was there, but I was 18, 19, 20, and 21 years old when I was there. I was still a kid. So I was dating this girl I was fairly serious with. I was like, hey, look, man, I was like, this is going on. She's like, don't worry, like, I'll get my Buddhist monk to like, give us some things. We'll burn some incense or whatever. Mistake, wrong. That pissed it off. So she went and got this stuff, man. Came back, man. She was a Shinto. She was doing this, doing this stuff, man. Lit this incense, man. And then after that, man, it went from being a nuisance to being flat out aggressive. So in Japan, they have typhoons. They don't have hurricanes, right? But like I said, man, we're the village idiots, man. We would go out in these hurricanes and play ball and stuff like that, right? With these, 80-mile-an-hour winds. So there was a hurricane rolled up. Half the base was, evacuated, but this, a core has to stay there. So we stayed in there. Went out, had a good time, hung out or whatever. I'm by myself, went in the room, crashed down, went to sleep. Something woke me up, and this thing was like 2 feet from my face, dog. Like it was right here. And it started doing this, it started making these sounds, right? It was like, and the sounds literally sound like this. I'm gonna try to mimic it. It's like like that's what I was hearing, right?
Oh man.
And like, bro, and like if this is, I'm looking at it, right? And I can see it, and it had these two little like white dot eyes, and this thing was like pure shadow, right? So again, that freaked me out, right? Like that absolutely freaked. I could not move, and I was gritting my teeth, man, so hard, like my jaw started hurting, right? Like I was gritting my teeth. Blanked out, man. Woke up, boom. My heart was pounding. I was sweating, man. I immediately get up. I immediately leave my barracks. Go down. Leave my room. I go down to my buddy's room. I'm like, man, you ain't gonna believe this, man. He's like, for real? I was like, yo, man, I'm sleeping here. I told him, I was like, so I'm sleeping over, dog. He's like, yeah, man, crash out. I was like, I'm not going back to that room, man. So then that was like the catalyst of like it got closer to me. And again, man, 3 weeks later, bro, I'm coming off of, we used to work these shifts, man, 2-day shifts, a day off, and then 2 night shifts and like 4 days off, right? We used to call them 2-2-96s, right? I'm coming off of my final night shift, man. I'm going to sleep. I'm laying down. I'm in my room. I can't breathe. I cannot breathe, right? And like literally, like I'm like kind of like gasping for air. I look up, this thing is on top of me, and his hands are inside of my chest. Like he has his hands inside of me, right? This is a true story. And again,
Whoa.
I've like I told everybody this story, man. So he his hands are inside my chest and I'm struggling and I roll over. Yo, it rolls me back over. It rolls me back over, man. And freaking his hands are in my chest. And then my roommate walks into the door and I have like this like blinking, like kind of like moment. Again, I snatch up in my bed and I tell him what's going on. He's like, yo, man. I was like, he was like, hey, bro, I got to tell you, man, you're sounding crazy right now. You're sounding hella crazy. You cannot, you need to stop. They're gonna look, they will put you on a psyche valve and you will be back washing dishes at Shoney's, man. That was a restaurant we used to have here. I used to work out, man. You'll be back in Shoney's. You need to stop telling people this. And I'm like, man, I'm telling you, man, like this is going on, right? Again, man, like to me, it started rolling into like every like once a month, man, a cycle. Once a month, the cycle was rolling up, right? One night I came out of my barracks room and we had this long hallway like The Shining, right? And there was a Coke machine all the way at the end of the hallway, and I was drinking rum and Cokes. Right? So I was out of Coke, but I had plenty of rum. So I was going to get me some of these Cokes out of this Coke machine, right? I come out and I look down at the end of this hallway. This hallway, I'm telling you, was a soccer pitch away, to give it in reference. That's how long the walk was, right? But it had these lights and it was kind of, it's a regular hallway. It was standing at that Coke machine. And this is the first time I'd ever saw it, when I was completely like, you know what? And it started running towards me, right? So I freak out, man. And I just run all the way down the hallway as fast as I can, like I was a 9-year-old, dip into my boys' room again. I was like, yo, man, this thing's in the hallway, man. They come out and look, it's not there. And so these guys were really close to me, man. So they knew that like this was like serious. And at the same time, this wasn't just happening to me. It was still happening to the other guy. And another guy was happening to him. And another guy. There's like if you were on this hallway, it just seemed like that block, we were catching the heat, right?
Mhm.
And so again, 1 month later, I was in there and I'd had again, girls were staying over with me. One of the girls left, her pajamas over there, right? And she had this pink pajamas, and it wasn't nothing like slutty or anything like that. It was just a button up silk pink shirt and a button up, not just like pink boxer shorts. It was just girls' pajamas, right? And she just left them there, and they were in my drawer. Again, I was asleep. I look up, man. I wake up, and this thing again is in my face, and it's making that noise again. It's making that noise again. And it has those clothes on, right? And then it does this crazy, like it bent over backwards like a crab, and it went, it skittered back over there to where the freaking refrigerator was, right? I said, I'm telling you, man, like I'm reliving this right now, dog, right?
Mhm.
And it skittered over there, right? And I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. So I get up, man. I'm freaking out a little bit or whatever. I go over there and the pajamas are on the floor, bro. So like I'm like, so at this time, I'm like, you know what, man? But I'm telling you, man, something weird happened at that moment, dude. I got a little pissed. I'm not gonna lie, man. I got a little pissed off, man. I'm like, you know what? For real. And so went over there. I put the pajamas up, man. I didn't leave my room. I didn't do whatever, man. I sat there on the edge of my bed, bro. And they give us these Bibles when you're in the military, man. They get these Bibles, man. And this Bible literally was about the size of this like cell phone, right? And like this thing was so like I had never even opened it, man. It wasn't even creased, right? And I was like, you know what, man, this is all right, man. This is getting old. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting old. Like this is about, I've been there 2 years, dog. 2 years, right? I said, this is getting old, bro. So I opened up that Bible. I didn't even know how to read it. The Bible's hard to read. I know how to read it now, but at the time, is read it. So I was reading there, man. I knew some prayers that I had said, so I said some prayers, went back to sleep. No problem, man. Like a month later, again, another type. No, I'm sorry. A month later, again, girlfriend's telling me something's going on, something's weird happening, man. Like this, that, and the other. I started staying more at her house instead of bringing her to the barracks, her apartment. So then, man, but I have to go to work, man. Like I can't not be on base, right? Like I'm active duty U.S. military, man. Like I just can't not be here. So, and this wasn't happening to my roommates. This was happening to my roommate. I'm sorry, there was another roommate in there. So I went back there, man. I had, so I had a day watch, and then like I went to sleep, and I had another day watch. And so in between that day watch, man, it happened again, man. But this time when I woke up, there was like 8 or 9 of these things in there, and they were all different shapes or sizes, man. One of them was like a, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to exaggerate the story, right? Because the story is freaking crazy by itself. But one of them was smaller than the rest of them. He was perched on the edge of my bed. One of them was slightly bigger than the rest of them. He was over there on the wall, and he was about 6 feet tall. And like I said, none of these things were tall. I'm 6 feet tall, man. This guy was the same height, but there were other ones there, and they were all making that noise. And it was loud, right? I'm in a paralysis, man. And like, again, they're just there and they're laughing at me. I could just feel that they're laughing at me, right? Like, I don't know. I can't say that I heard heard laughter. They all thought this was funny. They all thought this was something or whatever, but they were laughing at me. I blanked out, woke back up. And again, I was really pissed at this moment now. I said, you know what, man? I said, you're about to F around and find out, man. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I said, but this is going to stop, right? So I called it out. So about 2 or 3 weeks after that, I was doing a lot of reflecting on this too, man. Like I said, I'm not sensationalizing this story. It really happened. And it's like the story by itself is wild enough. I was on these mid watches, man, and I'm a critical thinker. And I'm like, yo, man, if I could ever just unparalyze myself, I will F this thing up, right? Like I will throw down with this thing. But every time, man, they lock me up, right? Like I can't move, right? So that was in my head, man. I was like, man, how can I, I was thinking to myself, is there a way I can bite my tongue, bite my lip? Is there something I can do, man, to like, how can I like unfreeze myself? And then, man, there's something inside of me said, fight it in your mind. Literally, that's literally like, again, man, I'm not nuts. Like I said, man, I said, something just told me, don't try to fight it with your body, fight it with your mind. And I was like, okay. So 2 weeks later, man, this typhoon was coming. We knew it was coming. We were tracking the weather, man. Again, man, I was like, yo, man, I'll stay on base, man. You know what? The other people, they're with their families. I was on the skeleton crew. I was there. Went home. It was raging outside. I said, you know what? This was the middle of the day. I wasn't even tired. I laid down. It was about, 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I can't remember when. I was like, you know what? I'm going to sleep. Come get it. Come on. I literally said this in my bedroom. Come get it. Come get it. We're gonna sort this out, right? I laid in bed. I'll never forget this, Tommy. I laid on top of my. I don't know why, man. I felt like I needed to be dressed. So I don't know. I was like, I can't make any rhyme or reason to make me feel better, man. I didn't have any shoes on, but I was.
You can't fight naked, man.
Yeah, man. I just felt like I needed to have on clothes, man. So like I got dressed. I wasn't wearing my shoes. Laid on my bed. I laid on top of the blankets. I laid on my back and I called it out. And it showed up, right? And when it showed up, it was making that crazy noise again. And for a half a second, bro, like a half a second, I tried to like do my body, right? Like I tried to do my body, but then I was locked up, man. But then I just stopped. And in my mind, I envisioned myself two-hand shoving this bastard as hard as I possibly could across the room. And he flew across the room, slammed into the wall. And I want to say that was my big dick energy moment. He screamed at me and flew right back and flew right back at me, right? And so at that time, man, I freaked out. I did this thing and I snapped out of it. And bro, when I tell you I shot up like somebody stepping on a rake, man, bam, like literally, I shot up standing on top of I was literally standing on top of my bed, right? My heart, bro, is pounding like you would not believe, man. Yo, I was freaking terrified, right? So again, man, I just grabbed my keys, grabbed my shoes, jumped in my car, and I went to the next naval base, which is called Atsugi Air Force Base, man. I went to it. I was driving over there. I felt like I was having it's about a 20-minute drive, man. I felt like I was having a panic attack the whole entire time, bro. I'll never forget this, man. I'll never forget this. Went on base, showed my ID card, went to Kentucky Fried Chicken, sat down, ordered a Dr. Pepper, and sat in a booth in the back by myself. Now, remember, these are typhoon-like conditions, right? No one was around. I wasn't even supposed to drive. I wasn't even supposed to leave the base, right? Drank that Dr. Pepper, man. It took me like 2 hours to like calm down, man. So then I was like, now I'm scared. I don't want to go back to my room, right? I was like, I don't want to go back to my room, right? Because like I can't even recreate the scream that it gave me, right? Like it shot across. But eventually, man, like I said, man, I calmed down. You know what? So I get back in the car. I had a black Honda Prelude, bro. I drove it. Drove all the way back to the base, went in there, opened up my thing, turned every effing light on in the room, the lamps, the desk light, the bathroom light, and then I just, went to sleep, woke up, no problem, man. And here's where the story does a turn. And like, again, I don't want to sensationalize it. It never happened again. It just stopped. It never came back, man. It just there, and that's how it ended, man. So after all the stuff that it went through, man, after all the stuff it went through, it just quit. It just stopped. And so the last 6 months of my tour were cool, no problem, man. And I told everybody what happened. I told them all what happened. And my friend, I have friends that I still talk to today that were one of them was my roommate when I was there. He lived through this with me, right? The other one still teases me to this day about it, right? Because the story about the shadow people, right? But I'm going to tell you an exclusive that you can't drop this episode until I drop my episode, man.
Yeah, I won't. I promise.
There's one more thing that happened, bro, that no one else knows about. I've never told anybody else this ever thing before. My next duty station after Camisea was Diego Garcia, right? So I went to Diego Garcia. Diego Garcia is an island. It's not an island. It's an atoll. It's a rim of an extinct volcano in the middle of the Indian Ocean, man. At the time, it still has it. At the time, it was the tertiary landing site for the space shuttle. It's got the third largest runway on the planet there, right? I did 1 year there, and it's called isolated duty, right? I had a choice to either go to Diego Garcia or go to this place called Adak, Alaska, and I chose to get a tan because I don't like the snow and I don't want to go 6 months without seeing the sun, right? So I went down there, landed, been there for about a month and a half, knowing my way around. It's hot as balls down there, Tommy. So hot, right? So I'm in my barracks room again. I'm wearing a pair of basketball shorts, right? That's it. I'm laying on my bed again. On the top of my bed, I was on low to the ground. I was laying there. Something woke me up. And again, this is a true story. I looked to my left, and standing right there, kind of looking down at me, was this 7-foot tall gray alien, dog. I'm not even lying. He had a head that was like this. His head went up, and it did like a little thing at it. It wasn't like one of these dummy automaton looking ones. Like, this thing looked fierce, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was standing there, and it was looking at me. And it put something in my head that we had a non-verbal communication, and it wasn't like a teleprompter going off in my head, but he just put this in my head. He said, "I can get you anytime I want to get you." He put that right in my head, bro. He put it right in my head.
Wow.
And then I kind of blink. He was gone. And this is a true story. And only the people that know me will know that what I'm about to tell you is something absolutely, totally in what my personality. I laid there. I sat up real slow, threw my legs out the side of the bed. I put my feet on the floor. I could feel the floor was marble. I could feel the coldness on the floor. And Tommy, I started laughing. I started laughing, dog. I started laughing. I said, You got to be effing kidding me. That's what I literally said to myself. You got to be effing kidding me, man. So I just started chuckling, bro. I just started laughing, man. And yeah, man. And that just made me laugh, bro. And
Do you
then,
think that was a shock?
no, bro, I'm telling you, man, like, I don't, I've never given it, I, I've never given it I've never really thought about why I just laughed, man. Like, but like, I'm the type of guy that, like, if we go to like somebody's funeral and then somebody, like, you know, flips that guy over, right? I'm thinking to myself, like, now who's going to clean that up? That's the first thing that pops in my mind, right? Not that the guy got flipped out of the casket, man. I'm like, you know what? Who's cleaning that up, right? And it's a story too, man. Like, I'm the type of dude where I'll be sitting. I've told people before, I could sit in my living room and a meteor could fly through the window and blow everything up. I'm like, dang, man, that was crazy. But like, if you steal my Doritos, man, I'll fight you to the death. Like, it'll be a knife fight, bro. Like, I'm just wired different like that. So, man, I don't know why I started laughing, man. Why? But like, man, I started laughing. I was like, I can't believe this shit, man. Like, alien just threatened to murk me. Like I said, like literally, man, like right in
Wow.
my thing. But again, man, anticlimactic, never happened again. Never happened again. None of that stuff ever came on again. None of that stuff. I've told
Wow, man.
my mother knows this story. My kids know this story. My wife, all my friends know this story. You know this story. And my cousin was like, "Yo, man, you should tell this story on the channel." I'm like, you know what, man, I don't want to be that dude to say right off the bat. Like I said, I'll wait till way down the road and tell that story. But
Wow.
and it wasn't until this year, actually. I did this thing called a Daniel fast, a 21-day Daniel fast, right? It wasn't until this year that I thought to myself, I was like, I wonder, well, there's definitely a correlation between what was going on and what happened when I was at Diego Garcia. I don't know. I don't, but again, man, when I tell people this, man, everybody wants me to tell that story and they want me, and then they want me to give them like some profound meaning of it. Like they told me to stop cutting down the trees, or, you know, I developed a superpower. That didn't happen. Like, and they want to say, why? And I'm like, I don't know, but I do know that, like, there's like, oh, you must have that special blood. I'm like, no, it's just straight old A positive. They tell you in the military in case you get hurt, man, you know what your blood type is, right? It's A
Mhm.
positive. I don't have any of that RH negative or O stuff. But I also tell them too, I was like, this wasn't just me. Like, yo, there were several guys that this was going on to, right? But like, I was the only one that was impervious to ridicule, right? Like, I didn't give a shit. I'm like, yo, I don't care what you guys think. Like, this happened, and my boys were so close. Like, yo, man, we were still hanging out, man. Like, no one ever ostracized me or anything like that, right? And so, yeah, bro. Like, but I do know that it has made me, when I hear other people tell like their stories, I can tell when they're lying, bro. Like that's like, nah, son, that's not what it's like. Like, I've heard people say, like, and you know, look, man, live your life. I don't care what you do, man. You be you, bro. You know, you I'm living my truth. Yeah, sure, whatever that means, man. Do what you want to do, right? But when they tell these stories, that I could feel that these things care about me. They do not care about us, bro. And like, you know, they care about the monkeys in the labs. They give them birthday cakes, but they also give them anthrax and cancer. I mean, that's, they're not trying to, like, it didn't.
Mhm.
I did feel like it tried to kill me one time, but like it didn't, like, you know.
Yeah.
But there was no profound wisdom given. There was no like developed. I was a smart ass before it happened, and I was a bigger smart ass after it happened. Right? It's like was it like I developed anything? And so when people ask me the why, I'm like, I don't know. Like, what do you mean you don't know? I'm like, yeah, bro. Like, I don't know. And like, I like there was literally 9 other dudes this was happening to. There was 9 guys, man, that this was going on to. Right? Some of these guys had breakdowns, man. They had breakdowns, right? And I was like, you know, and I told these guys how I did it, right? I think Izzy tried it one time. Like, I said, that's how I did it. And I do feel that emotion comes into play. Like, like the scareder you are, the braver they get, but the more
Hmm.
angry you get, they shrink back. So
Hmm.
yeah, dog. And they're like,
Wow.
that was it, man. And then until I, and then one more thing happened like this year. I was doing this Daniel fast, right? And a Daniel fast is a special fast that you do out of the Bible. You can go look it up, right? I was just, praying and just, doing a 21-day fast, right? But man, when I was doing it, I could feel that like minor irritations were going on with me, man. I could not figure out I could not figure out what it was, man, but something just minor irritations were happening to me. And it felt like somebody was taking their fist, man, and just like right in the middle of my back, man, just like grinding their fist into my back, right? I was like, oh man, my back hurts all the time, right?
Hmm.
So it's on day 21, man. Literally, I'm about to break the fast on like day 22, right? I'm laying in bed. I feel like something is grinding into my back again, man. And when I wake up, man, I look to my right. There is a pit bull's face right here, right? Pitch black, bro, and it was dying, right? Like it looked like it was really sick and it was dying. And this was the first time I've had a sleep paralysis since Japan, years ago, right? And I was like, Jesus, 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 Jesus. I was in my head, right? I was going, Jesus, 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 right? All of a sudden, man, I felt like a flash of bright white light, and whatever it was yanked out of my back where the pain was. I wake up, fling my hands across, slap my wife. She barely wakes up. I'm like, Jesus. Like this, and so she's like, it's okay. You're all right. She don't even wake up. She's touching my face and stuff. Like, let's go back to bed, right? So go back to sleep, man. I wake up the next morning, man, bro. I felt great. I felt great, dog. I was like, you know what, man? So I don't, if that might have been the last of whatever it was that was going on or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, bro. And that's like, and then that's just how it is, man. And again, when
Wow.
people ask me the whys, I don't know why. I don't have a
Yeah.
clue why. I don't know, man. But I do know,
That's wild.
I do know, but I will say this though, man. Like over the last 3 years, man, that spiritual warfare is real. It's
Hmm.
100% real, bro. Like it is, man. And so like, and I do know that I have my own theories on this, but I do know for reasons, call them demons, call them extraterrestrials, interdimensional, whatever. They all bow to Jesus. That name will send them running,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
That will send them running, right? So I do know that there's power in the name of Jesus, man. And so, but again, like I say, people love my story, but the ending's like season 7 of The Sopranos, man. It sucks, man. Like there's like it's
No, man, not at all.
just
I think
goes
it's
off, bro. It's it. And
super interesting.
yeah, man, that's it.
Thank you for sharing that, brother.
Yeah, bro. Like I said, man. And so
Wow. I
yeah, man.
used to deal with sleep paralysis
Yeah,
where I lived before I live now. I used to live in a flat in Essex, and I used to experience sleep paralysis weekly.
yeah,
Like at least once a week I would have an attack.
right.
And it was very much like you were saying, it's a battle that you have to have in your mind. Like I
Yeah,
used to swear at this entity that was attacking me,
yeah.
and eventually Jesus's name is a technique that I used and it works.
Yes, it works.
100%. And
Yeah,
I still get it. I still get sleep paralysis where I am now, but it's very rare that I get it now. I've had it a few times. I did have it quite recently, but it's not like it was like weekly.
yeah,
So man,
yeah, bro. And so another thing too, I tell people who've never experienced sleep paralysis, don't believe the lies that tell you that, oh, that's just your body keeping you
yeah,
from falling out of the bed. No, it ain't.
nah,
No, it's
nah,
not.
man,
No. If you've
it's
ever been
really
in
not.
if you ever been in sleep paralysis before, if you ever had it, you will know that there is nothing natural about it, man. There is nothing whatsoever natural about it, man. There's just no way that you're fully a conscious, almost what I would call in a hyper state of awareness, man,
Hmm.
and completely cannot be immobilized completely. There's just no way, right?
Hmm.
And so, yeah, man, that's just that's the story, brother, and that's it, man. So
Yeah, and I thank you for sharing that, man.
there's some internet gold right there, buddy.
Yeah, I won't put this out until you put your one out. So you just let me
Yeah,
know when I'm able to drop it because
gotcha. Yeah,
I'm excited to put it out, man. 'Cause that's
it'll be about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks, man. Yeah,
super interesting.
yeah. We can
Because it
drop on the
is.
same day too.
Oh, I'll let you go first, man. I'll
That's
let you go first.
okay.
But it's so interesting, man. It really is.
Yeah.
I know I think you answered this, but the grey alien you saw,
Mhm.
do you think there was a connection between that
I
grey alien
do.
and the entity in your room in the
I
other camp?
do. I do. I do. And I don't know what it is. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like I said, I'm not that guy where I could sit here and try. I could sit here and try to, well, this was, and then tie it off in a nice little bow.
Mm-hmm.
I have a story. I have a working hypothesis that a lot of people don't have never used before, but I lived it, man. And so I think this thing was somehow, and this is going to sound wild, man. I don't even have the vocabulary to articulate it. So I'm just going to say it, man. This was some kind of like test or like an experiment, right? And I don't know what it was, right? So I do think that what I know those shadow things in my room were real, right? I do believe that this was their boss, but he was never in my room in Japan, right? And for whatever reason, and there were people that lived that could not see these things. So when I say that it was like nine of us, there was something about the nine of us that we could see things differently or whatever. I don't know what it is, but there were plenty of other guys that were in the same area that experienced nothing, right? And I don't know if this thing was trying to harvest fear. I know it sounds crazy, man. Like I don't know if it was trying to harvest fear or if it was trying to push the limits to see how scared he could make me before. I don't even know, man. Like I said, I could not even tell you, right? But I'm not the guy to tell you that I woke up on a spaceship or that I've got weird holes in my head. Like I'm not that dude, man. Like I don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that there was or is or there some type of 100% connection between the two, and also to the areas where this occurred were top secret military bases, and so there's a correlation with that as well, man. And so again, man, like I do believe there was something going on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's a relation there. I don't know what it is though, man. Like I said, I don't know.
and the message they gave you, I mean, it's quite a dark message. I can get you anytime.
Yeah, bastard. You know what I'm saying? But it was funny too
Whoa.
because right now, but now, like I've said this before. I mean this. I will, if unfreeze me, I will stomp you. I will swing your skinny ass around this room like you got no business, dog. If
Yeah.
I even said that, I've said that several times, and I told these, if I could unfreeze my mind, I would throw a beating on you, son, big time. We would like, yeah. So if they could not, and I've told people this before, man, like if they couldn't lock us up, man, they wouldn't stand a chance, dude, because this dude skips leg day and chest day. I'll tell you what, man, I will tune this thing up. Believe it, man. Believe it.
Yeah, I
So
do,
now, man,
bro.
yeah, but now like I have absolute zero fear anymore of it. None whatsoever, man. I don't,
Hmm.
man. Like I said,
And that's interesting as well,
yeah,
because like you said before, and I do think there's something to this with
yeah,
whatever these entities are, the more we fear, the more
yeah,
energy we give it, the
yeah,
more power they have. And
yeah,
that's something I believe. I don't know. I'm no expert, but that seems to be like you think of a haunted house, like
yeah.
little things happen. You hear knocks, you might
Mhm.
hear a voice, and you give it fear. Now I'm scared. More stuff starts happening, and that's what seems to
Yeah,
they seem to feed off this the
yeah,
fear.
yeah. And like I said, man, I'm not like it's funny on my channel on purpose. I don't do demons or paranormal stuff, man. I don't like, it's not my thing. Like I've had enough of that. So, I'm not really like I don't want to talk about it in my off time. So I don't kick around it. And it's like this story is like I'm not the kind of guy that's like this story like hasn't crippled me. I'm not a victim. Like I said,
Mhm.
like it happened. And again, I don't not tell anybody about it. Like I don't, my kids were too, like, I didn't tell my kids that much because it used to scare the crap out of them. Right. But now they're adults. But the correlation between, but again, I also, when I hear people say, I can see why people think they're demons. Right. And I can see why people think, oh, these aliens are demons. But I take it a step further. I don't think they're necessarily demons, man. I don't think they're demons actually, but just because they bow down to Jesus just shows you that he is truly the King of Kings of everything. You know what I'm saying? Like all, so like they have to. I do know this though. They're not supposed to be doing this. I 100% in my mind, we're supposed to be off limits, right? 100%, right?
Interesting.
Off. I feel that in my heart, man. Like whatever was going on over there, whatever they were doing, when he put that thing in my head, man, I never saw him again or it again or whatever. It was a man's, like I said, it wasn't a verbal thing, but it wasn't my voice. It wasn't a voice. It was just that was in my head, right? Yeah, man. And
But
like
that's something you
again,
hear a lot as well, the telepathic talk
yeah,
these
yeah,
things seem to have.
yeah. So like it wasn't like I was hearing like the words, like he just put it, it was in my head. And again, if you could unfreeze me and
Hmm.
get at me.
Yeah.
I said, I will put you through that drywall over there. You are done, son, right? But I do know people that have talked about these stories. And again, I don't want to double back on it, man. When I hear their stories, man, like I can tell within about 3 minutes, like, yeah,
Hmm.
you're full of it, dog. That's not even close on how to do it. The quickest way to know, in my opinion, the quickest way to know if somebody's BS in a story is if they try to tell you they've developed some type of personal relationship and like they're so kind to them and they're just doing health and welfare checks on them and stuff like that. Yeah, no, that's not it, bro. That's not it. No, you have something they want or they're feeding off you of your energy or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that's it, Tommy. That's my
Wow, man.
that's how
Did
that's my capstone story right there, man.
That's amazing, man. I mean,
Yeah.
terrifying. Did
Yeah.
anyone else see the grey alien in the
No,
second case?
so I don't know. Like I said, you're the third person I've ever told that to.
Oh man, that's an honor.
I didn't even tell any. I never even told my other buddies or anything like that before. I never even told them that story
Wow.
in the parts. So
Thank
I
you,
have
man.
no idea. And so the thing too is like the other guys, they've all drifted, right? Like we've all like this, we all drift apart, man. Like, and they went on it. I don't have any contact with them, but nah, that was to me, that was my standalone moment right there. And I was like, all right. So I've known aliens are real since I was 21.
Mhm. Yeah, man. Is it because I've got a lot of respect for you military guys, man. You do an
Thank
incredible
you.
job, an incredible job. In the military, is because I've asked military people before, is it known, is it talked about the aliens, or is there secret? I know there is obviously secrets in the
So
military as well.
here's like, so I've again, I don't sensationalize anything, man. If that's a word, I've never seen any UFOs over military bases. The only time I've ever saw a UFO was me and my wife were flying from, we were flying out of Florida, I think Fort Lauderdale to Cartagena, Colombia. She wanted to sit by the window and I was sitting in the middle. And we looked out the window and off of the passenger wing of the window, there was this giant black ball and it had this bellowing red smoke coming out of it. Like it looked like it was wounded or something like that. And it was like pouring smoke, right? And I'm like, oh my God, she sees it. I see it. I look up and every other idiot on the airplane's got their head in the phone. No one's looking, right? I know the pilots had to see it. So her and I were like, good, go, what is that, man? And we just cruised on by, man. That's the only time I've ever seen a
Wow.
UFO, right? And it was just, and again, it was just a giant black orb, and it was huge. It looked like the Epcot Center ball, but it was pitch black,
Wow.
it was just this red smoke was just like pouring out of it. And I don't again, that's the only time I ever seen. I never seen anything like that over a military base or anything like that. When I was in the Navy and we used to have these conversations, it's always two groups of people, man. Like you have the guys that believe and stuff like that, and but you have the other guys that no, that's not happening. You guys are nuts, just that and the other. It's the same on the outside, right? But again, man, I've never been privy to any top secret briefings where we discussed anything or like, hey, keep this quiet or whatever. It just never happened, bro. Just it wasn't. And again, like Just because you have a top secret, SCI stands for sensitive compartmented information, TSSCI.
Hmm.
So you and I could work in the same building and not know at all what the other one's doing for years, right? Unless we
Wow.
talk to each other, right? So they chop it up like that on purpose. But no, man, like I've never known any anybody that saw anything or whatever. One guy reported seeing something once in the ocean, like a USO come out of the water or whatever. But like I wasn't there and I didn't see it myself, and so no,
Hmm.
man, like yeah, but no, like, but it's like I said, it's same as on the outside. You have the believers and the not believers, and so
Hmm. Yeah, man.
yeah.
Is there a place where you could have reported that alien? Is there something, or was it a case of,
To my chain of
um,
command.
yeah,
No, so yeah. I mean, like I could have told several people, right? Like I could have told, like, hey, look, this happened in my room. But again, my buddies before, like, yo, man, they'll put you out, they'll kick you out, they'll say you're nuts, they'll say you're this, they'll
mm,
say you're that, man. And I was like, yo, man, I was like, all right, man, cool. And
yeah,
again, so I just kept that part to myself. But the whole shadow stuff, man, that's the worst kept secret in around me, man, because I had told all these guys about this crap before, man. So right, yeah, but yeah, no, could have. I mean, like I had told senior guys, like there were guys that were my friends that were senior to me, and they were the ones saying, "Yo, man, you just stop." Right? I mean, I could have went to the captain, like of the base, and he would have put me in the hospital. He would 100% put me in the hospital, man. And because they would take my clearance away. Without my clearance, you're pretty much useless because you can't go in the areas, right?
hmm,
And so I'm not going to walk up to my captain and say, "Hey, look, there's a shadow man beating me up in my barracks room, and him too." I'm not going to rat these other guys out, right? So it
yeah,
wasn't just a collective effort by. It like none of us reported it to anybody super high up, but it, they all everybody knew that it was us, like 9 or 10 guys. They all knew it was us, right?
yeah,
So like
man,
y'all played softball together. Like these guys, like they would tease us. You know what I'm saying,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Interesting, man.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it, Tommy.
Did you have any experiences before that? Before?
Nope, not at all. Nothing,
Interesting.
nothing. I had never nothing like that before. Nothing like that since, man. Just nothing at all whatsoever. Right?
Wow.
Yeah,
But it's when you have experiences like that though, then you know there's a lot more going on now. That's for sure. Like there's
yeah,
a lot more to this world. We know that anyway.
yeah,
But wow, man. Thank you for
yeah.
sharing that, brother.
No, you're welcome, bro. Like I said,
Incredible.
yeah, it's a good story, man. Like I said, and like I said, the ending's kind of blah, but like it happened.
Yeah, but I mean often that's the way these things are.
Yeah,
Like we don't really understand what's going on.
it's anticlimactic.
And
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
yeah, man. Well, hopefully that's the end of it.
Oh, it is, man. Like I said, it won't show up anymore, man. Like I said, man, I'm deep into my faith now, man. I pray all the time,
Hmm.
fast all the time. I know how to fight it, man. I know spiritual warfare is real.
Yep.
And, you know what I'm saying? And so I know how to guard myself. And again, I don't entertain it. I don't, like I said, man, I'm not some, Constantine, like into the light I command. I don't like, I'm not like nothing like that. Right. I'm
Yeah.
not calling anything out, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm not scared. I'm not walking around fearing anything. I'm not turning the lights on when I go to the kitchen at night or anything like that.
Hmm.
But at the same time, man, I do, when I think the key, man, to these situations, if is once you learn how to beat them, they figure out that you've learned it and they leave you alone. That's just my
Hmm.
feeling right there, man. They feel that, okay, like, all right, he's off limits now. Like there's something, there's a spirit, the Holy Spirit's inside him, or he'll invoke Jesus on me, and
Yeah.
so they won't come around, man. But yeah, it hasn't happened since. Hasn't happened, like this was years and years. Hasn't happened. I don't ever expect it to happen again either, man. So
Yeah. Brother, man, thank you so much for sharing that.
you're welcome, brother.
I'm
Yes, sir.
excited. I'm excited to put it out.
All right, cool.
Obviously, you let me know when I can, and
I
I'll drop
will
it.
for sure.
But
Absolutely. A couple weeks,
what?
man.
It's been an honor talking to you tonight, brother. And
Yeah, man.
again, you're welcome back anytime. We can. There's a
All
lot we
right.
can talk about. So I'd love to get you back on. I'd
For
love to
sure,
come
Tommy.
back on your show as well
Yeah,
because it's
you got it,
absolutely
brother.
awesome.
Yeah.
You're a legend, man. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you?
So I'm on all the platforms, man, but my YouTube channel is basically at the Ancient Enigma Files is where you can find me on there. I follow Tommy as well. You want to jump in there and see who he follows. But the same thing on Instagram and TikTok. I think I'm Professor Augustus on TikTok. But if you hit the link in any of my bios, it'll open up my link tree, and you can just plug us in on any of the platforms you wanna hang out with. Come over. I
Awesome.
said, come give us a watch. If you don't like laughing and talking about scary stuff for dogmen and taking a different peek on it, I'm probably not the channel for you, because if you get your feelings hurt pretty easy, then yeah, you'll watch a half episode, but it's all good.
Brother, it's awesome, man. People need to go and check it out. The links will be in the show description so people can find your show easily. Brother, thank you so much. Let's do this again soon.
Absolutely, man. You got it, brother.
Thank you. Guys, if you've enjoyed this episode, share it where you can. We'll be back very soon for more freaky conversations. In the meantime, stay safe and keep it freaky. Bye for now. Thank you very much, brother. Thank
No
you.
worries, man. Anytime, brother.